Hey there everyone, it's Emily. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel, and welcome to my Disney Villains Halloween themed series. I'm starting with Yzma. So first I'm going to show you how to draw her, and then we're going to go into coloring her. This is just kind of like my practice mock-up that I did. So I have a 2H pencil. I'm working on Bristol paper, which is kind of smooth because I'm going to be using alcohol markers to color her in. So I want a pencil that's going to be fairly light, and a harder lead like 2H makes it so that it's a little bit lighter, but if you press really hard and put a really hard line, then it's harder to erase. So you just want to be kind of gentle with it. And then I have my Mono Zero eraser, and then I have a Knead eraser, and then I have other erasers and things next to me, but these are the things I'm going to start with. So we're just gonna, this is a little bit smaller than this obviously, but we'll start with her head. And we want to fit her little hat or whatever this is. So I'm gonna just start. Her head's weird shape, so I'm gonna just start with a circle. And to make a circle, you don't want to just kind of do this using just your wrist. You kind of want to put your whole arm in it, from the shoulder and everything. And then that gives you kind of your basic shape. You know, it's kind of hard to see. And then you can kind of map out her eyes are about, the bottom of her eye is about halfway. So I think I'm gonna drop it down a little bit. I'm gonna make it just a little bit bigger. There we go. And then you can kind of pick a circle, pick a size that you like. And then you can kind of draw in just a line where the bottom of her eyes would be. And then you just draw that in half, because then her nose is kind of halfway through. And then her eyes are slanted, so you can kind of just use your pencil. And then, so this, if this is the center, then the eye just goes a little bit to the right and the left of it. So you can start by just kind of creating ovals as kind of placeholders for those eyes. And then her nose goes up kind of between them. So you can kind of map that in and then adjust the eyes as you need to. And it's basically just, it kind of looks like a spade of like in a card deck, or it's a kind of an upside down triangle. But I'm just going to kind of map it in. I'm not going to totally draw it in yet, just so I can kind of get the placement of everything. And then her mouth, it drops down a bit, but the sides are almost even with the side of her nose. So I'm gonna kind of go over here and over here, and then just kind of draw in like a big smiley face. And then you can drop that down. Just kind of putting things in to kind of save the spot before we really decide, because it really stinks when I put the eyes in and then I realize they're in the wrong spot. So if you just kind of map things in first, it saves you a headache for later. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna kind of make these a little bit bigger, and I'm gonna draw the whole thing first. Kind of scoot it over a little bit away from the nose. I just want to get kind of the size in first, so that way when I put her head in, I kind of have, this one's a little bit too far down. And they don't have to be perfect, obviously. This is just a whimsical, fun way I thought to celebrate. the spooky month. I love fall and Halloween. There we go. So let me show you kind of what it looks like right now. Looks kind of like a jack-o'-lantern. And now I'm going to kind of start mapping in her head. So you can kind of start this eye. It goes almost right at that eye. And then it goes right next to the other eye. And then her crazy cheeks, it's kind of a little bit at an angle. Kind of match up with where her little mouth corners are. And this is just like a rainbow, basically, is the way I kind of think of it. And they kind of jut out a little bit. It's funny when you actually look at how characters are made, how creepy they are sometimes. And then it will jut in towards the mouth. And then it goes to a point under her mouth. So you can kind of draw the point in and then go up towards your little, like her cheeks. And then we can kind of put her neck in. I'm going to put it just to the left of the point. And she has a very long neck. And then we're going to draw in the little collar, I guess is what it is. So we'll do this one first. And it basically mimics the direction that her cheek does right there. So you can just kind of put a line in at that angle, and then you can put another one in on the other side. And then I'm going to stop just a little short of where the corner of her jaw is. And then from that corner you can make kind of a long, just a curved. And do the same on the other side. I'm going to actually try to make mine a little bit darker for you. And then I'm just going to kind of mimic that shape as well. And then you can go in and kind of put some, I guess, little feathers, making them a little bit longer, making them a little bit shorter at the top and then longer as you go down. So I thought that was a little too long. And then the same on the other side. And I always have one side that I can draw better than the other. The right side can be weird sometimes. And I can fix it later, but. And then we're gonna make a little V right here. And then right under that, the little lip here, you'll add the rest of her neck, which is actually gonna look like she has a shirt on, or whatever that is, a collar, I guess. Scoot that over a little bit. And then it looks like this is kind of attached to this part, but it's folded. So I'll bring that down. And then you can just kind of make her shoulders just kind of go off the page. This is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. This is 9 by 12. And then to put her earrings in, I have a circle template. I don't have one that's quite this big, and I wasn't gonna mess with it, so I'm just gonna use the biggest circle that I have here. So what we can do is right here, I'm gonna drop this down a little bit. It's just her little ear is just kind of sticking out a little bit. It's kind of like a rectangle. And it gets cut off on this side a little bit from her earring. So that's another kind of rectangle. And I just kind of adjust my lines as I need to. And then the kind of the post of her earring, or whatever you want to call it, the top of her earring would just kind of end right there. And then I'm going to go in with my circle template. And just draw that in. And then I can erase anywhere that the collar would actually be over the earring. So I can just erase that little earring part I drew in. And then we can go to the other side. She's a very angled character. A lot of times the villains do seem to be angled. The mono eraser is nice because it doesn't put a ton of little eraser shavings. And then I will go down here and add the other side. And now we can kind of start firming up some stuff here. And on this one, part of her eyelid is actually showing more because of the way her head is tilted, I guess. And then again, I'm going to use my circle template to put in her pupils. And I try to put them pretty close to the same spot in each eye. So I'll kind of gauge where it hits on that side. And now I'm going to put in her little nose, which, like I said, kind of looks like a little spade. Doesn't attach all the way. And then her nostrils are just kind of like little V's, basically. And then we can put in these other little lines. And they're actually a little bit different than this, so I will put them in the correct way. But it's the shape is the same. They go along her eye there. But then up here, there's actually a little bit of a, kind of like little squigglies. And that extends a little bit past. And then the same thing happens on the other side. Sorry, I gotta kind of turn my paper for a second. And then it's another little, it's like little hills or humps. And then her eyebrows. You can see more of one than the other. This one just kind of, the left one just kind of disappears. And then she has this little part of her hat or whatever that thing is, like I said. And then kind of starts right past where her eye is, right here. It just kind of curves. And then the other one starts a little bit past that upside down triangle. You can just kind of have it curve over. And then we're gonna put right off the page there, I'm gonna put another line in. And then I'm gonna connect this next part to the little corner up there. And go kind of at an angle. Wrap that. And then connect those. And then we'll make this little curly Q, kind of doing a backwards C, and then connecting it like that. Now we can put her mouth in. So there's two little lines jutting out right by her nose. And then her lips. You can kind of start where the center line is that you made and put a little V there. And then just connect it over to where the line is, and then that's where her lip would stop. And then on the bottom, start kind of shoring that up a little bit now. Putting her bottom lip in. And then her teeth are basically just little squares. They look like little chiclets. Kind of going at an angle like this as they recede because they'd be a little bit smaller. And then we can start drawing in the feathers. And then you just kind of start, and these don't have to be exactly like mine. I've drawn this a couple of times and they're always a little bit different, but you just want to make them kind of all different shapes and angles, putting some behind. So at this point, you have two options. You can either draw this in a permanent liner, so you can outline it in that first and then just go erase it, or you can just carefully erase any area, any lines you don't like, because once you put the alcohol marker over it, you won't be able to erase any of your lines. So you just kind of want to make sure that they're exactly where you want them to be. Also, let me know if you'd be interested in just having access to my drawing. That way, if you don't feel like drawing it, but you want to color it in, just kind of treat it like a coloring page. I'm gonna look into figuring out ways that I can make my drawings accessible to you as well. So drop that in the comments if you would be interested, and I will get back to you. All right, I'll see you in part 2 when we're gonna color her in.